I received a mysterious assignment. Every day, I had to hang landmines along the cliff face to guard against unknown, terrifying creatures lurking in the canyon. I lived in a bunker, dozens of meters above the ground. On the other side of the canyon stood another bunker, but we were forbidden from making contact. I was supposed to hold this position for 1 year. My comrade finished briefing me on all the precautions, then left. What I didn't know was that this whole thing was part of a massive conspiracy. Even more shocking, the moment my comrade was picked up, he was killed by someone on the helicopter. My daily routine consisted of checking the radar above the canyon, inspecting the defense nets, and maintaining the heavy machine gun. Then, I'd report to headquarters via radio. The rest of the time, I could only spend alone in the bunker. Out of boredom, I picked up my binoculars and curiously glanced at the bunker across the way. What I saw left me stunned. There was a beautiful woman over there. Her name was Eileen. She quickly noticed I was watching her. That night, I couldn't sleep and couldn't resist peeking through the binoculars again. When Eileen noticed, she blew out her candle. Turns out she was an assassin. Not long ago, she had taken out a high-profile target. To escape the people hunting her, Eileen came here. One day, she looked at me through her binoculars, then wrote a few words on a cardboard sign and fired a shot into the sky. She was asking for my name. I told her communication was forbidden. Eileen immediately raised her gun and shot my bottle right off the table, then made a taunting gesture. I raised my rifle and blew up her bottle in return. She wasn't angry at all. Instead, she applauded enthusiastically. Then she placed a bottle on top of her head, signaling me to keep shooting. Suddenly, she seemed to spot something terrifying. She gestured frantically, warning me of danger below. I looked down from the tower and saw a swarm of dark figures climbing up from the canyon. Using the faint light, I made out what they looked like. I immediately opened fire and went into combat mode. Eileen and I coordinated perfectly. Soon, everything went quiet again. Just then, Eileen sensed movement beneath her feet. She had barely stepped back when a claw shot up and grabbed at her. Without hesitation, she pulled out her pistol and unloaded on the creature. Then kicked it off the ledge, but something even worse was happening. More of these monsters were silently climbing up from below. I took out one with a single shot. When it fell, it hit a landmine. The explosion sent shrapnel flying and wounded Eileen. I immediately activated the heavy weapons and unleashed a barrage on the creatures. Eileen ignored her pain and used her machine gun to eliminate the monsters beneath my position. When the creatures triggered the infrared sensors, every weapon in the canyon activated at once. The massive firepower formed an impenetrable wall of destruction across both sides of the gorge. After a night of intense fighting, the monsters were finally driven back. Fortunately, Eileen's injuries weren't serious. This experience changed something between us. We started to develop feelings for each other. From then on, we patrolled together. Even though we could only watch each other from a distance, it was enough. One day, I went on patrol as usual, but didn't see Eileen anywhere. It turned out her father had passed away. I wrote on a cardboard sign to ask how she was doing. She said she wished I could be by her side. I decided to break the rules and go see her. I took out a rocket, secured it in place, pulled the fuse, and attached a hook to the tail. After modifying it, I laid out the rope I'd prepared on the ground and hooked it to the rocket. I pressed the launch button, and the rocket carried the rope successfully to the other side. When Eileen saw this, she was thrilled. I tidied myself up, picked a few flowers from the mountainside, then slid across the rope to the other side. When we finally stood face to face, we were both overwhelmed with emotion. That evening, we shared dinner under the setting sun. The warm light bathed us, adding a touch of romance. The next day, I said goodbye to Eileen, but on my way back, disaster struck. The rope snapped, and I plunged into the canyon. Eileen saw what happened. She strapped on a parachute, leaped off the edge, and dove into the unknown depths after me. The bottom of the canyon was shrouded in mist, making visibility almost zero. Eileen landed in a river, but her parachute got caught on a rock. She quickly pulled out her knife, cut the lines, and surfaced. The current swept her downstream until she finally grabbed onto a tree trunk and stopped herself. Meanwhile, I was tangled in tree branches, unconscious. A monster was slowly creeping toward me. I suddenly woke up and shot the creature dead. The gunshot caught Eileen's attention. I untangled myself from the parachute and fell from the tree, hitting the ground hard. Just as I tried to get up, some kind of slime on the ground latched onto me. Sharp fangs emerged from below, trying to trap me. Right then, Eileen arrived just in time. She shot the fangs apart, then pulled out her knife and cut through the slime binding me. Looking at her standing there, risking everything to save me, I was deeply moved. But our troubles were just beginning. The canyon was blanketed in fog, and we couldn't tell which way to go. Suddenly, sounds came from all around us. We were knocked down by monsters, creatures riding horses, attacking us at incredible speed. We fired back and took out several of them. After the fight, we discovered something disturbing. These monsters were wearing U.S. Army uniforms. These cavalry creatures were likely the troops that went missing years ago. We didn't dare stay. Our priority now was to get out of here immediately. After struggling through the terrain, we made it to the edge of a wall and crawled into an old bunker. It was an abandoned research facility. We found a generator inside and managed to start it up. Through the projector, we finally understood everything. This place had once been a top-secret joint operation between the US and the Soviet Union. Here, they had successfully developed a nuclear bomb, but a massive earthquake destroyed everything. The facilities were severely damaged, and the genes of humans, plants, animals, even insects began to cross-contaminate. Once infected, you'd mutate within 5 days. We had to escape as soon as possible. Just as we were about to leave, I discovered another secret on the computer. Hidden in the canyon was a massive nuclear bomb, a self-destruct protocol for the entire area. If the secret was ever exposed to the outside world, the self-destruct sequence would activate. The radar stations on both sides of the canyon served as the triggers. As we prepared to leave, Eileen realized her backpack was missing. To avoid an ambush, we threw a smoke grenade first, then carefully stepped out of the bunker. We spotted her backpack nearby, but the moment she reached for it, a rope snared her ankle and dragged her away. I chased after her immediately. Unfortunately, Eileen's abdomen was slashed by a tree branch. She pulled out her gun to fight back, but realized she was out of ammo. Her head hit a tree, and she blacked out. I followed the trail and found a missile launch site. The monster hadn't harmed Eileen. It had hung her up instead. When she came to, she broke free and fought the creature. She grabbed a torch and set the monster on fire. I arrived at the same moment and shot the creature dead. Then, we found a jeep. We drove to the eastern wall of the canyon, where there was a zip line. We planned to use the car's winch to escape, but the monsters followed us. We used the winch to slowly ascend. Just when we thought we were safe, Eileen spotted a horde of monsters climbing up the cable after us. I punctured the gas tank and tossed a flare down below. Flames erupted instantly. Then, I cut the cable and climbed the rest of the way by hand. We made it out alive, but we still needed to quarantine for 5 days to make sure we weren't infected. We made a promise. If neither of us was infected, we'd meet in Paris. Before leaving, I would destroy this place. I made my way back across the cable to the other side and reported to my superiors that everything in the canyon was normal. What I didn't expect was that we had been under surveillance the entire time. My superior assembled a team to come to the canyon and eliminate us. The next day during patrol, I suddenly heard the roar of helicopter engines. It was the team my superior had sent. I shouted for Eileen to run. When the helicopter landed at the watchtower, they found no one inside. My superior ordered the drones deployed. We quickly escaped into the forest. The drones soon spotted me. A falling tree trunk knocked me down. I fought back and shot the drone out of the sky. Eileen easily took out 2 drones on her own. Once I reached a safe spot, I set up my sniper rifle and brought down another drone. Eileen made it to safety too. Then we aimed our rifles at the radar stations on both sides of the canyon and fired, triggering the self-destruct sequence. My superior realized something was wrong. The canyon's secret had been exposed. The missile's self-destruct protocol was about to activate. Before he could escape, the missile detonated. The entire canyon was obliterated in an instant. The helicopter didn't survive either. The massive shockwave blasted me into the river. 5 days later, Eileen showed no signs of mutation. She traveled to an island in France and waited for me at the place we'd agreed upon, but I never showed up. So Eileen settled down there. One day, she suddenly noticed a familiar visitor approaching. It was me.